Hello again, so back for another video. Really happy with how the last video went and the front of the boat. Now it's time to move to the back and tackle that rudder. We're going to move on to the rudder stock. So I have drilled out the old brass rudder tube, and we're going to be replacing that with stainless steel, and it's going to go from the bottom right the way through to the top, so it's nice and strong and nice and rigid. I've just had a new rudder arrive from Dave Creed. It was a really good value, so I picked up one of those as a temporary measure. I am going to mould my own, but this will bide a little bit of time and at least get me back on the water nice and quickly. Also in the post we got today some stainless steel tube. It's 10mm outside diameter, 1mm wall, so that will get us the rudder post. I might machine the wall down a little bit if I feel it's too heavy. I then also picked up some plastic rod. I forget the name of the plastic, but it's the one that you're allowed to use, and it's going to act as our bearing surface. Annoyingly, the stainless steel tube is a fraction under, the inside diameter is a fraction under 8mm, and the plastic is a fraction over. So what I thought I'd do is bore out the tube with an 8mm drill bit. However, drill bits don't seem to come very accurate, and I can only find a 7.7 or something, or an 8.2. I did try using the 8.2. It wasn't a decent carbide bit. It was only just a standard one, and it did not like the stainless steel. It was way too hard and it got glowing red hot, as you can see. So I have opted for throwing the plastic in the lathe, which I will throw up a little clip of. And I have machined down the outside diameter to fit nice and snugly in the tube. I have also bored out the center of the plastic to 4mm to accept the rudder stock. That fits really nice and snug, so very happy with that. Next step, I will cut a nice section of tube and bond that into the boat. As I say, I might machine down the wall thickness a fraction just to lighten it up a bit. There's no real need for it to be quite so beefy, so I think I can take probably half a mil, take that down to 1/2 mil for a majority of it, just to lighten things up. But yeah, we'll get that done. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do the actual linkage itself. Having the horn on the top is obviously the easy option, but getting that linkage to the rudder, not too sure. Wondering if I can come up with some other ways. So I'm going to get the first stage done and then try and figure out the rest. So I have made a rudder stock with a sleeve inside it. Sleeve's got a little top hat to stop it from dropping right the way down. Now it fits absolutely beautifully. However, it's perhaps a fraction on the tight side. Now I could let it just wear in. It might do, not too sure. But what I think I might try is making this sleeve on the inside have a top hat, top and bottom, make it in 2 halves, and then bore out this center section, so that we only have the sort of bearing surface on these top 2 parts. That way just reducing friction and making it a little smoother. So I did actually make this stainless steel part fractionally too short as well, my stupid mistake. So what I'm going to do, remake the stainless steel chop the plastic sleeve in half, use one half and bore it out, and then remake a second half, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so I have had another go. I have remachined the main stainless steel stock. I have made 2 inserts this time, one that comes from the bottom and one that comes from the top, with that slightly bored out center part to reduce the friction. All seems to be pretty good, nice and smooth, no play. So next step is to jig it up in the boat and get it bonded in. It's going to be a bit of fun getting it perfect. Not sure whether I'm going to use the laser or quite what, but that is the plan. So I will catch you back when it is all set up and ready to be bonded in. So I've had a bit of a play around with jigging this up. I jigged it up last night indoors and just gauging it by eye off the fin, and actually I got it within 0.2 of a degree, which I was quite happy about. And then, well, then I thought I'd check it with the gauge because I forgot I had it, and yeah, it was only 0.2 out, so I was quite happy about that. So I brought it out into the garage. I'm going to rejig it up. I've zeroed the keel, and now I'm going to zero the rudder. I have glued or tacked the top of the stock. The bottom of the stock is free to move, so I will get that positioned perfectly, and then I will tack it back in place, and then we can run the epoxy and fillet it out and give it. Okay, so there we have it. I have jigged it up. I have moved the gauge onto the rudder there. I taped it to a big chunk of aluminium to hold it in place, and I think we're pretty good. So next step, tack that down there with super glue, and then fillet it all nicely with epoxy and microfibers, and that should be that part sorted. And then we just got to decide how we're going to have the rudder linkage. So I believe the way to do it is to have the push rod in a tube coming out up through the deck and then up to the bell crank. So that is the plan. I will move on forwards.
I've got it around the back of it as well, so I'm hoping that I can just use something like this. So the mix I've got here is
now these two holes can actually be filled as well, so I should have thought about that earlier. That little one I'm happy to
just put a little bit of mix over it. Don't think that will have any issues. And then get to the inside, it'll be nice. Put it in. A bit of wire. And then just smear a bit on the back side of the hole. So that I know that it's tied in to the deck. And I can see I've got epoxy on the end there, so I know that that has happened. Could even hold it a bit really double sure.
So for filling this hole, what I'm going to do, the plan, is to super glue this onto here. And I'm going to pop it in there and then epoxy it down and then let it cure and break this off. That is the plan. Whether it'll work. Annoyingly, I don't have my kicker with me. So I'm just going to let that cure. There we go, so that is now on there. There we go, that is in place there. So that is going to work perfect. I might just give that a little key. And then, what are we going to do? We are going to put a little bit of epoxy on here. Okay, back in the garage again, another evening. Where are we? Well, we got the rudder stock all bonded in, so that's all solid. I've checked it and it is perfectly plumb with the keel, so very happy about that. 2 holes are filled. We still have to bond in around the top of the rudder stock. Not too worried about that. I will do that when I'm doing a load of other epoxy work. So next thing to do is, and I've already kind of been doing a bit of planning, is to get the linkage set up from the servo to the rudder. We have a little arm here which sits on top of the rudder post, and basically the plan, I've done a little drawing, so height wise I think we've got 8mm between the top of the servo and the deck, and then another sort of 5 or 6mm up. Basically I'm going to trim down half of this this arm because it's so beefy, it doesn't need to be that thick. That way I can get the ball link on the bottom of that rather than the top, so my push rod doesn't have to bend quite so far. I'm going to need a small little washer on the bottom, and then hopefully that should work out for us. I'm going to have a tube going through the deck, which will be something like that. So there'll be a small hole in the middle of the deck, and then I will have a fiberglass support supporting the tube, the portion in the centre, one underneath, one on the top of the deck, and then glass that all in, fair it, and make it all nice. So that is the plan. Let's get to work. Okay, so we have got it laid out here. I trimmed down the horn to allow us to have the ball joint underneath. Pretty sure this will be the ball joint that we use, but worst comes to worst, I just need to use a different size washer. I have put a washer under there, but saying that, we've actually got plenty of room underneath that screw, so I could actually lower it a fraction if I wanted. So that's good. So next, I have plotted that center point. What was it? 82mm from the center of the servo. So that should work out quite well. I am going to cut a small little fillet to go under this area, and then a small little fillet to go on the deck to cover that area. So that'll be nice and easy to install, and yeah, should get us pretty much there. So I've been playing around with the tube. By the time the angles are sorted out, there's virtually nothing underneath it. I cut a small, what I thought was going to be small, little hacker, but I don't think it's going to need it. I think what my plan is, pop the push rod in, I'll screw the servo in, and then with a bit of epoxy, everything held in its correct position and in line, I'll just epoxy underneath here and under the deck, let it cure, sand it back, job done. I think can't see any point in making it any more complicated than it needs to be. Might try and do that at the same time. Should be sweet. Cool. That makes life easier. 10 times simpler. Okay, so I've pretty much got it jigged up there, but I think what makes sense is on the servo horn here I have one of those little adjustable barrel things. I really want to get that on there before that. I just ordered some, so they should be here tomorrow, so I think I'm going to hold off on epoxying that in until I've got that done. Now, this servo was originally installed with grommets in there. This ain't no race boat, there's no engines going on. So what I'm going to do is remove those grommets and sink the servo down just a hair more. That will give me a bit more height on top of the servo arm, and it will also reduce the central gravity of the servo, so I will do that. Yes, you wouldn't believe it. I was looking through my box of trash, which is probably 40 years old, and I don't have to wait until tomorrow. I found what I was looking for. I don't know what they're called. One of those little barrels with a screw on the bottom and a Allen key in the top. Adjustable push rod thingamabob is what I shall call it. But yeah, so we got that. So that on the top of the servo horn. We'll give that a go, see how it goes. Obviously I want to try and keep it below the surface of the deck. I was wondering about printing a little hatch surround and then having a clear top over the top. If I decide I need a bit more height, I could do that. So let's give this a shot. Right, so stoked that I've got one of those in the box. I've played with it tonight. The real question is, if I get it on the camera, is does it hit the top of that? So when I've got a cover over there, is it gonna clear it? We're golden. It's close, but with a straight edge above it, I've got probably 3mm clearance. So I think if I still might print a little surround and then have a clear Lexan case for it, cover for it. I think that might be quite a nice little touch. Perhaps I could probably have it sit sort of below the very small little edge. It almost sits flush. So yeah, we might do that. It might be a nice little project, wouldn't it? So well, there we are. Everything has lined up properly. So pretty much epoxy either side, leave it overnight to cure. Nice one. Right, back with another mix. This time it is just resin and microfibers and a bit of Fixotropic. I've just got it mixed up so that it doesn't slump at all. You can see there's not coming off my stick there. So once I've put that in place, it should stay nicely. Coat that, pull it back through, mount it up on this side, pop the horn back up. Fair that and smooth, sand it all out, grind it down, make it nice and pretty once it's cured. So there we have it. Rudder post is all in, strong, nice, finished. Yeah, really happy. Got that job done. So with that said, we'll see you in the next one.